Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's been a long time. We're here in the Manchester, where are we? The Museum for Police and Courts, or?
Yeah, it used to be an old
Old-
Newton Street police station, I believe.
Yeah.
Not Oldham Street. Not Oldham.
There's definitely an old police station that's now a museum. We've got it all the way from the start.
Welcome to the channel, Autistic. Welcome to Newton Street police station and Oldham.
Capri for the car fans.
Built in 1877. I'm with my friend here, Martin from MRC, and I'll put that up on the screen again.
By Martin Journals,
By
Autistic
Martin.
Audits, featuring.
Please go to his channel and subscribe.
It's been a while, we're just getting a catch up.
There's the current Stephen Watson,
Oh, yeah.
the current police chief, two-team police chief.
Here we are with our ranks. That's interesting, I never actually knew the order.
Constable, sergeant, yeah. Chief and stuff. Chief Inspector. It's quite a lot down, Chief Inspector. I thought Chief Inspector would be higher than that.
Well, the lowest is at the top,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is quite low down. I thought inspector was quite high up as well, because my mum's husband is a retired inspector.
They're like, I suppose, middle management and that.
Yeah.
So it should be fine now. If we get any argument, cameras at least I'm spoken to. And
Yeah.
We actually told them, didn't we? So.
Touched base. Here we go.
Equipment from all over the years, riot equipment.
This is the police uniform of the first police, the Peelers, or the Bobbies, as in Sir Robert Peel. My granddad's officer jacket looks similar to that one.
Yeah?
Yeah, in the RAF, he had like an old felt officer's jacket with the same kind of buttons as that.
Where was he stationed?
I can't remember. I didn't. It's kind of like a disconnect between me being old enough to ask him those questions and him being alive.
He's the most controversial of all of the chief constables.
What is that?
They called him the God's Copper. He had a real nasty kind of effect really on the gay community. He probably did the most worst, but also the most side riots. He was
Right.
he was a real bad.
Pigeon service. That's kind of cool.
Oh, that's the Manchester plate.
So that's the mounted police uniform there.
The person who wore that uniform, it says, was killed in action in Mesopotamia, Iraq on 26th of July 1916. I'm not surprised by that. Bloody slow. Too slow to run.
I know, I get bad enough for my keys and my phone in my pocket.
I don't even bring my phone out of this.
Many truncheons.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they've all been used.
Yeah, and some of them are like, made particularly to cause discomfort.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole industry is like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting into the back of a police car, everything's kind of custom made to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Make you feel frightened.
A level of inconvenience.
Yeah, and make you feel frightened, alone.
Yeah.
Plead for your innocence and all that kind of stuff. Oh, so, I didn't do it really. All these are some of the crimes.
Detective Inspector's Office of the 1950s. Yeah. Still within living memory for myself as well. Just smoking everywhere.
Yeah, I remember it on buses and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not young.
I'm old enough to remember ashtrays on buses and people slyly smoking on the buses, but not it being allowed though.
I remember everybody being allowed. It used to be like a thick smoke on sort of top deck of every bus.
Yeah.
It used to feel really sick, but as a kid you always wanted to go up on the top bus. Sort of top deck for some reason.
Kingsway murder.
Forgery.
What's that?
Forgery of all banknotes and things.
Ah, that's cool. Rex v Leicester. Forged banknotes from the 1990s. Yeah, I reckon I could spend that, you know. I reckon I could spend one of them.
Yeah, I reckon. So people are actually losing the ability to count change now because of all these cartoons that you've seen when you went to Greg's or something, you can count and go,
I can understand if they hadn't been in the country long though. Weapons, just a big plank, I love that. That's ingenuity for you.
It's simple.
Morning Star. Jesus. A couple of crossbows, why not? What we got up here?
I was listening far from the strange ways. Prison Maya, actually.
Ah, that makes sense with the picture up there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ah, yeah.
Nice, yeah, and stuff. Quite terrifying. I actually watched the riot from just on this side, and then I actually travelled over to Amsterdam to see a friend, and then I saw it on the TV and it was like, wow, because I was there just a few days earlier, and it just seems to go on and on and on. I was born in '69, makes me very old.
Wow, you're exactly the same age as my mum.
Yeah. So I'm old enough to be your dad then.
My mum's barely old enough to be my mum. Sorry, mum, if you're watching this. Yeah. There you go. First police motorbike over there, exactly 1 horsepower.
Yeah, don't get in the way of it.
Yeah, absolutely. A big thing that is.
Let's see what we've got up here.
You look carefully at those two colour photographs, you might see somebody you recognise.
Oh, Lady Diana. Actually signed it.
1991, Manchester Airport.
What a shame.
She came here.
What a shame.
Yeah, no, she's done.
Yeah. That would be about, oh God no, about 1850, I imagine. Where is a good question. No idea.
Yeah,
No idea where that is.
difficult now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, did you realise that?
Say again?
Did you realise that?
Me, no, I
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, metal. What are the white caps again?
Sorry?
The white caps, what are they again? The white caps, the white hat.
That's traffic cop.
Traffic cops, is it?
Yeah, that's how you spot traffic. When I found it out,
That's what I was. Bikes and cars.
Right. Yeah, because I remember seeing there was like a death around the corner from my house, and because it was a digger, there was a white hat, and I didn't understand what the white hat meant
Yeah,
at the time.
just traffic cop.
Right. But I take it that would have been an inspector as well, because he's on the scene of a death.
No.
No?
Well, I
Is
used to do them as well.
I thought that was like a standard thing. If there was a death, an inspector had to go and make sure there was no kind of foul play.
Oh no, whoever's available, he would go just. Say I went to a sudden death.
Yeah.
Inspector might turn up to make sure I'm doing what I should be doing. You know, but not necessarily this. When you've done a few, they just leave you to get on with it. You know.
Fair enough. Are these cars up here all police cars, or what's the called?
Yes, except that one.
Right.
That is it's a studio shop.
Right.
That's from Z Cars, and that there is Brian Blessed.
Ah.
Now on there he's half the money he is now.
Yeah. Big lad now.
Yeah, I said the Mini Cooper S,
Yeah.
Triumph TR4A, 3.8 Jaguar. But the best ones we ever had were the Ford Capris.
Yeah.
In my book.
I got a picture of the big collage out there. I could just zoomed in on the Capri.
Yeah.
It's a popular car back then. It was my dad's favourite. It was my dad's favourite car as well.
Well, I said I've driven that one, and that one.
Yeah.
And I had 10 years on these.
Yeah.
But the Capri was my favourite by far.
It was popular with a specific couple of generations.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Are you from Manchester?
No, I'm from Scotland. I'm from Elgin.
Did you fly down?
No.
Oh.
Took the bus.
Well, from Manchester Airport here to the city, what would it be? 12 miles. About 12 miles. And I was in a Ford Capri. I was coming out from the back of the airport, from under the airport tunnel which goes under the runway. And I got a message to say serious fire at Woolworths, Piccadilly, the person was trapped. Piccadilly just there.
Yeah.
Took me 8 minutes in a Capri. I'm doing 130 miles an hour, and traffic a mile ahead is parting for me. Everything was perfect run. Couldn't have asked for anything better. And even on the dual carriageways, I was still doing 40 mile an hour, and I was still doing 70 in there.
Yeah.
That was the beauty of the Ford Capri. It was so easy to handle, powerful. Boy, was they fast.
It's one of the last proper rear-wheel drive cars they released by Ford in Britain, wasn't it?
Sorry?
They went to like front-wheel drive and four-wheel drive after the Capri.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they brought a new Capri out now. It's a 4x4.
Oh yeah,
It
just
looked terrible. I don't know what it's like. But it's certainly
a bit like the
doesn't-
Jaguar F-Pace as well.
Yeah, yeah. It certainly doesn't look anything like as good as the old Capri.
Same with the Kuga. That cute little Kuga was a really nice car with a nice engine. And then they brought out the new one, and it's all kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting it. I'm 81 now, but I'm quite happy at 60 miles an hour.
Oh, me, I drive it like 50 miles an hour in fourth gear everywhere. I like to see my economy.
Yeah. Well, when you pay for the fuel yourself, it makes a difference.
Exactly.
Well, you know, I'm quite happy. Look, I'm going on a cruise in a couple of weeks. I'll drive down to Southampton.
Right.
And it's a 5-hour journey if you have a stop for half an hour. Well, I allow myself 6.5 hours. No worry.
Yeah.
And it's not. I spent enough years, spent 20 odd years doing fast driving. And
All changed for me when I had kids.
yeah.
You know, as soon as you
Well,
got kids in the
14,
back,
I was doing this when I had kids. And it's especially if you've been in a fast chase and it's a dangerous one, you know.
Yeah.
It makes you think about who you've got at home. But, I mean, at the time, you just got to get on with it.
Yeah.
But when you stop, well, that's when it hits you. Then you think, you know, you've got family at home.
Yeah.
Okay, you develop certain skills when you do the advanced driving courses. But it still makes you stop and think, you know.
Yeah, things can go sideways pretty quickly in a car.
Just on one occasion, it's only happened once, but it came up the radio, observations for such and such a car, and I came across, I was right behind it, and he wasn't stopping, and it was a hell of a chase. We ended up on the motorway, go well into Cheshire, and eventually I'm running off the road, and he's up and he's off. Running across the field, but my adrenaline was up here. And I got him. B7 colours of shit. It was just a reaction.
Yeah.
What my kids at home.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It only ever happened once. I really lost it then with that guy.
Yeah.
Because what he was doing was unbelievably reckless.
Yeah. Right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Security alert status is high.
Yeah, it's just information about the station. This is back.
Yeah.
Onto the charger things. I think this is where they originally bring them.
Yeah.
Sometimes drive them in. So you've been nicked.
It's been a while.
Leave that inside the.
It's been a while for me. It's been at least a week.
You'd have that. You'd have that in the back of the car. And if you go to an incident, you could go to the incident and put that on. The incident. And then you assess the incident. Then you have to do regular fire alarm officers. And they're going to be. They're going to be in the. They're going to be in the stuff all the time. But it'll be a slightly more modern version of that.
Persons in custody.
Slowly.
Pause and read if you wish.
Yeah.
Don't know if you'll get much of that.
You can actually have a ceramic plate which goes in there, a ceramic plate at the back, so it means that the bullet hits that, it breaks the plate, takes out all of the impact of the bullet, and it won't hopefully go through the rest of the jacket. What?
I'll take 2, please.
How much is a room for 2 nights?
How much is room for 2 nights? There's one down the road, you can get it for free. Put a show window in, this hasn't been used as a working police station since the late 70s. But in the 80s, I actually came here in the 80s and did the report writing here because the whole place wasn't a museum at the time. It slowly evolved into the museum that it is now.
So you could get like a brewery and things like that.
Yeah, get a brewery rights and everything upstairs. But one of the things you can see, if you put your hand here, you feel a lip around there. When you get to here, the lip's gone because that's the amount of bellies under to a
Yeah, standing there just wearing it away.
And it's the same funny enough on this side as well.
Yeah, see the
So
shape
this
of
is
it there.
definitely still to stand there.
Yeah, so you'd be told to stand there, and you'd also be told, you used to say, don't touch the counter.
Yeah.
Everybody did. They all come in, first of all, the police officer would put them against the counter, so they touched the counter. The sergeant used to say, don't touch the counter, because you had to be that distance away, because if someone was going to try and punch
Yeah,
the
if you're
sergeant.
gonna, yeah.
So he knew that you wanted away from the counter. And you could see his feet. If somebody did, he'd generally have a typewriter in, so the typewriter there, it's not there, he'd generally have a typewriter in, and he'd be typing some of his details out. And then when it came to copying, for instance, on that nice Victorian computer there, you'd type out your report, and then you would put your wet copy on some damp paper, and now 20 minutes later you get one copy.
It's essentially the same, isn't it? Because he'd be sat here now with his computer in front of him. and
Just
saying,
exactly the same.
No.
Just exactly the same. So when it comes to looking after to see around the city, we needed one of them. And if you think about it, even during the Second World War, all the batteries and everything that we used were going to be for the war front. They won't be at home. So you still have these then. These go back to Victorian times.
Yeah.
You see the old things of Jack the Ripper. You see the policeman with his lamp.
That's
The oil that they used in there was whale oil, because whale oil burns very brightly. It got really hot, you had to be careful. If you were running with it, splashing out the oil, set you on fire. If you had it attached to your belt, it would get so hot it would burn through your pants, burn the skin. So they put a big leather patch there, which stops it. So that's like I say, it's 100 years old.
That's amazing, that, isn't it?
That is it.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to alert, radios didn't come in really. They had them in the early days of the 30s and 40s, but they're absolutely useless. So 1970s, really, radios came, weren't they? Absolutely useless. So radios came in sort of 1970s that were any good. And then these were alright. But even those, sometimes you couldn't get reception depending on where you were. So it was down to the whistle. Whistles were alright. They were still issuing those in the 1990s.
Really?
Yeah, but more for a dress reason. There was no real purpose, except if you're at a radio range and you're on a hill searching for a child, and then you've got a whistle, you're standing in the line, and you're actually using it, you know where you're at.
And I suppose dog handlers still use them.
Mountain rescue still use whistles to this day.
Absolutely.
So one of the better things was these. So these were about this size, that's a replica, it's only small. You needed help, you've got hold of somebody and somebody else is there, you need some help. So you're on a beat, which will be an area that you stick to, and somebody else is an adjoining beat. If they hear that, you know you need help, and so they would say, we're on our way, and that's what they used. Very good. And also, if you think about it, you've got one of them in your hand, you've got hold of somebody. You know what I mean?
What's it called?
That's it, rattle.
A rattle.
Rattle.
I remember the football version of those.
Well, how the football version came in, First World War, that meant you're going over the top. That meant gas.
Right.
So they would put the gas mask on, otherwise they would die.
So that's sticking gas and that.
So that's what happened. And then after the First World War, all the soldiers coming home, the ones that were left, all the ones coming home, brought these home, painted them up with the favourite colours, went to watch the favourite football team. And that's where the football rattle came from.
Oh, brilliant.
So then we've got handcuffs. changed many times over the years. This was one of the first ones, but believe it or not, lasted until the 1970s. So this is something called snaps. It actually goes on one hand. You've got quite some wrist.
Oh god.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So you put on, I'm not a promise on it. So you would snap that shut, hence the word snaps.
Yeah.
You could probably get out of that because they were really made.
There we
So they were made for blokes.
Yeah.
You would not, nobody in the right mind would handle for a woman. But anyway, we'll put that on. If you lead them to the police station. If they struggle, you twist that around the back. Metal on bone hurts, and they will walk which way you want them to walk. Now, think on those. After that, just have to get handcuffs like this, which were a waste of time. Key. I said, don't do anything. I'm just going to. You just stay where you are. You're going to these on it forever. It's but absolutely useless. After that, you start to get these. These are called Hyats, and they're Hyat quick cuff. So that's somebody's wrist. You put it on, and they snap on quickly if you put it on. The drawback of these was the chain in the middle, because the chain in the middle meant that once you got them on and behind the back, it could sit through them. Come around the front, stick it around the policeman's neck. Not good. So, thinking back to those, that works the same way. That's got a chain in the middle, believe it or not, but that plastic covers the chain. And it just means that you put that on, use it the same way as that, on one hand. If you want to have the hands side by side, you can just go like that, come up, walk the way I want you to walk, and you will. Other way, you can handcuff them like that, you can do them like that, round the back like that, stack them so they can't sit through them. So that's what we used to do. So, batons, truncheons, or as we call them in Manchester, staffs. So it comes from truncheon. We reckon that what happened in Manchester, some police officers couldn't spell truncheon, so they would call them staffs. Not true. So what they would do is...
Sounds like a Liverpudlian thing to me.
A staff. You see, if you look at, I'm trying to think of something that where you would see one. You see generals with staffs, a staff of office, and they'd have a crown on the top and ornate round. And you'd see, if you ever look at see pictures of Himmler or Herman Goring with his staff, all ornate, you know, for posing for the pictures.
Kind of like a mini scepter kind of thing.
Yeah, like a scepter, staff of office. So these were called staffs. Now, sometimes you'd see some of them all painted all fantastic colours like you see in there, name of the station on it, name of the police force that it's from. Obviously, there's a lot of police forces. So you'd have that. That's pretty standard. That's reasonably heavy for a Manchester truncheon.
Would that cause a lot of injuries?
It would if you hit somebody on the head with
That
it.
hurts. Just
What was it mainly?
You hit the
on
legs.
the legs, isn't it?
I've only ever used mine on dogs and on windows because they were a waste of time to do it, quite honest. But if you've got to sort of fiddle about getting out when a bloke's got a knife, you might as well have picked a table and sit with a table, which is generally what I did, or something that came to hand easy. So that's reasonably heavy. That one is heavier.
oh yeah.
So that's from Salford, joining City, because in Salford heads are thicker. I can say that because I'm from Salford. So is it? That's ironwood, yeah, ironwood. So that's why this one. What do you think that's for?
It's the right size for me.
Haribo. It's for Haribos, isn't it? You know, give me a Haribo. Yeah. No, it's a female truncheon.
There you go.
So they would have that. So
I mean, the
women,
comparison.
Would she not for the bigger one?
Trousers with a tube going down the trousers. That's slid into the trousers, into the tube. Even the strap was tucked away. Rubber peel doesn't want any weapons on show.
Yeah.
So that's why that came in. And then with women, skirts, nowhere to put that. That goes nicely into the handbag, which you issue with to put your truncheon, your pocketbook.
Doesn't show much authority, does it?
It doesn't, and every policeman I spoke to never ever used one of them. Made the handbag heavier so you can whack them with the handbag. and I'm not joking. And then as soon as the women started to get trousers, they got the same baton, truncheon stuff. That one, where's that from? Smaller than that.
Similar size.
What do you think?
Training? Definitely not.
Heavier.
Really
Salford, where heads were thicker. So that one is a detective's cosh. And it's stamped up with the
Yeah.
detective's number on it.
Was that one any good?
That one was excellent. That would go up your sleeve, so you can use it to block things. Also, fitted nicely inside a detective's jacket, and that's what we would do. That's what we used. Again, I got one of those.
That did you feel it?
Yeah, it's got a bit of weight to it.
American cousins came along and took no notice of what we'd said about we don't want the police looking at arms. Every American has got, nowadays, has probably got an Armalite in the back pocket and 20 guns at home. That's just the way they are. Anyway, don't think they're Americans, but then, some bright British police officer went along there on some jolly and saw the cops all walking around like this. Thought, well, that looks cool. He said, yeah, buy these. You don't want those old things. And if someone's trying to report a child missing, you can push them out of the way and say, I don't want to do the paperwork. And if they try and attack you, you can block them. And then when you're arresting somebody behind, trying to get them free, you can hit out behind and use it as a cosh. Buy these, and we bought them by the thousands. And suddenly, we've got the British police walking around with, first of all, back to all like guns.
Yeah.
Secondly, wearing them on the waist. So you've suddenly got a Batman show, which we've never had before.
It's more
So we're in panic cars by this time, get in a panic car, sit in a panic car, go, ow, that hurt, take it out, put it on the side seat, jump out to your next job, forgot your bag, waste the time. So, the Americans said, don't worry, we've sorted out, you've been stupid enough to buy, sorry, you've been good enough to buy an album, buy these look like what Uzi submachine gun, attach these to your belt, still on show, sit in your car, it doesn't hurt, extend it, you can extend it same size as that. But of course, do tell the odd lie, Americans, they didn't make these, the Chinese made these a couple of thousand years ago. They were made from wood, they were flat at the bottom, they used for grinding rice to make rice flour. When they were attacked by bandits on the farms, they would use these to defend themselves because that's all they had, and that's where they came from. But, so, the Americans will tell you they made those, and obviously the Enigma machine as well that they recovered. So, lots of things like that. So then, somebody said, let's get back to basics. We're now wearing these type of vests with all the kit in, where you see CS gas, your radio, your handcuffs. Let's have a baton of an appropriate size that you can tuck away, it's not on the show. Everybody knows you've got a baton, and they are batons, these are not truncheons. Everyone knows you've got a baton, but these are not on show. It goes back a little bit to Robert Peel, albeit the cops walk around now, people like car park attendants. Some of them just edit that bit out. So we have buttons like this. This one I like, we just take this out of service, but this is quite a good one because it's a good deterrent. So if somebody says, you've got a knife, you say, put the knife down. They don't put the knife down. They tell me again, put the knife down. They don't put the knife down. They want something that sort of sounds that'll break bones. So that sounds that'll break bones because it would. So that's what we had till recently, and they were frightened to think that it scared kids that. So they brought this one out, which is much quieter, but it's actually heavier than that, and it's got other uses. It is heavy, but it doesn't make the same deterrent noise. So this one, you've got a screw on the tip. You can actually put a mirror on there, a bendy mirror, and use it in the car to look inside the car or under the car. And also, you can get like a little pickaxe type thing on it, which isn't for hitting people with. It's for, if there's a car accident, you can rip out windscreens and stuff like that with it. So that's why it's, so that's what they have today.
Wow. Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that is going to be better.
I suppose that one is better. I like this one because of the sound. Because you don't want to hit somebody. You want to not hit somebody.
So
frighten them off. For this one, it's quiet.
So what you're saying is the giant mag-light torch wasn't actually supposed to be used as a baton?
It wasn't. Albeit, I did have one. And it was handy, especially at night when you were walking around. But no. The funny things, weapons or defensive tools, because they are what they are. I was on the Serious Crime Squad, and you would have to have and whatever you could get, and they gave us sticks that were for horses, for the big long sticks, but not even as good as those. So they're just like a long stick, and you're going in against our brothers. And this thing was lightweight. It was like hitting somebody with a bamboo stick. It was like it's going to go ow and then carry on hitting you. So at one point, the pickaxe handle was a bit like the old Sweeney type things with leather straps through it. Pickaxe handle, and you could use those to go in through doors and to defend yourself because it's a big staff. You defend yourself. That's what. The old sergeants, of course, had these. Nightsticks. And a nightstick was a good thing. And it had multi-purpose, it had a metal tip on the end of it. Some of them were ornate, they were built by their own. And had a crest on the top with a bit of silver on there. And the metal tip was where you're on the streets with the metal edgings on the pavements. They'd use this when they were going on a beat to see if they could see where some of the cops were, so they would go bang, 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 and it would echo all over the metal. And they did that, I need to make my next point for the next point, so I'm in trouble. I'm really in trouble, I'm starting to roll sergeant. The other little trick they used to do, they did this with me in 1980. So the sergeants would say, have you checked all your doors? Cops used to go around, believe it or not, check your door handles of businesses. One of the things they used to do, the sergeants, is dip that in a bit of dog muck. Touch some door handles, you'd have gloves on nights, and he said, you checked all your doors? Like, yeah, check the doors, smell your hands. If you smell your hands and smell dog muck on your hands, probably a bit, smell dog muck and you're doing your job, they don't do it again. If they did get that every Saturday night, knowing full well, and they did that on me. They did it on a few different things. But of course that was also see all the sergeants there in the pitch, all the sticks. One of the things happened, one of the problems we were getting was dogs. Dogs were a massive problem in the city centre. We're going round packs.
Yeah? Oh, good. I like it.
They were going around in packs, they were biting kids, they were going in shops, stealing food, crapping all over the streets. So of course, that was all going in the houses and the shops. City Council said we want cleared up. Every policeman got a dog lead. Bring your dog in, put it in the pound out, then the girls outside. Off to the pound the next day, back to its rightful owner, resold if it was a decent dog or destroyed. That's the way it works. One policeman one day is on Deansgate and he sees the biggest dog he's ever seen in his life. The dog sits that high. So he thinks, wow, this is impressive. Goes up to the dog, it's yawning, it's quiet, it's dopey, gets a bit out of one of his sandwiches, gives it a bit of meat, it just yawns at him, eats this food. Puts that around its neck, that's as tight as it goes around its neck, because this thing's so big. So he walks it across, still yawning, right across from Deansgate into Newton Street here. The charge officer sergeant's put a bit of coal on the fire. He says, look at this size that I brought you, look at the size of this. The sergeant turns around, takes one look at it, jumps over the counter and legs it, because he's not brought a dog in, he's brought a lioness in. A lioness had escaped from Melbourne Circus. It's about 4 miles down the road, it was at the time. And this thing was dopey because they'd give it stuff to make it dopey. They pulled its teeth and they cut its claws really short. So this poor thing was put in about 5 minutes outside. And you can imagine, can't you, the policeman in the station. So you got to think to yourself, how can anyone be that thick? I work with lads who work that. But how can anyone be that thick? Well, first of all, no cinema, no TV. Books were things for richer people. So were art galleries. So he would have probably never seen one in his life. Only a young lad comes in, all the other coppers would just be laughing their heads off, because half of these will have been off to Africa, fighting in Africa in the 1800s. They'll have seen them. So when the kids come in, now obviously I'm not going to do it with you. When the kids come in, I say, right, see if you can spot which copper it is. Guess which one I picked, which one it might be. No. So it looks different than any of those. Yeah. No moustache, no beard. So I tell them that what they did, they put him in the middle, shaved his moustache and beard off and said, right, no stupid. Let's have a picture taken. The first part of it is true.
I think we looked all right on that.
Yeah, I've shown them a picture of you.
He's only jealous.
Real liar. Listen, I've got my hair upstairs.
Okay.
You won't have yours forever.
Yeah, plenty of people have tried to take it off, I'm telling you. I'll be offered to, you're okay. I'll just have a word with it.
Yeah.
Are you filming this?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Never heard my name.
So that's about it for the chat. Any other questions about anything
Thank
at
you.
all?
Oh, that's brilliant, thank you.
Awesome. So what was good was that you've seen self-history about the history of things.
Yeah, it's where it
Not
comes.
just the patterns, but where the patterns.
Yeah, where it comes from, really. I mean, it's a living history, this place, because you get it's an amazing what a bit of history. I'll move over here, so we do research here as well. So somebody will send something in, say, my great grandfather, I believe, was a policeman. This is the years I think he was in the police. So we'll have a look through our records, generally find them if they were, because we've got all the different police forces around Manchester. And then one particular, I was looking through, and then I was interested in case there's a very early black cop that we've got a picture of. Pictures, forget that. Manchester were useless. Salford were a better police force. The 1800s they took pictures of policemen. So we've got a picture of our first black cop in 1930, which is a long time ago, but not that long ago. There's got to be many before that. So, but they were all good at taking descriptions. So the descriptions of pale complexion, very swarthy complexion, maybe, and then you get some that you think that could be maybe Indian or whatever. And of course, because of the colonies, you've got people who came in full time. So then the next thing, I see this one, and it says, very, very black skin. That's a clue. So I start looking at this guy, he's all like called Grenville. I start looking at him, and then I can't get any farther with other than the records I've got. But then I start having a look at his family history. So look at his family history, and his father was the first ever black circus in the UK in Victorian times. So he performed in Victoria and travelled the country, settled sort of around Manchester. He was a master horseman, used to ride 4 horses, stood up on him. His wife was killed in a tightrope accident, and this was the mother of this particular cop. So then I carry on sort of reading a little bit about him, and he was called, his name was Paolo, thank you can see him in the circus doing it. And so that was his circus name. So then I read about a musician, and this musician is walking. He used to put sort of final shows on for the benefit of one of the artists who was retiring, no money for pension. So for the benefit of whoever it was. So he puts one on this show, and these posters were all over the country. Everybody looked at showing to him. Anyway, this musician one day, in the sort of 70s, he's walking through London, goes into an antique shop, sees one of these posters and thinks, oh, I like that, I'm having that. Takes it home, puts it by the side of the piano and starts trying to think of another song. So he uses all the words on the poster, and it was called For the Benefit of Mr. K, and it was John Lennon, and all that. Researching a guy from here.
No, it's amazing, isn't it?
It was on the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely album. So, you know, we've got stories like that every so often.
Yeah, there was a guy, I came here about 10 years ago, something like that, and I think his name was Dennis Wood. I was reminded of the front office.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote a book, I think he was from the Collier's division, and I still got that book.
Have you?
Yeah. I think it's called On the Beat, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there really are some fascinating stories and things that happen to this day. A lad came in And he was, I suppose you'd class him as eccentric, but he was utterly smartly dressed, never seen that. And the interesting thing I thought at the time, he was carrying this umbrella, and it was a Rolls Royce umbrella. So I've got to have a look at this lad. And he tells me the story how he bought it and everything, and he's completely dapper, this lad. And he's right at the end of the night, and as he's, at the end of the day, and as he's going out, he said, is there any way I can research something about my grandmother, you see? So I said, well, was your grandmother in the place? So he said, well, it's actually, he says, no, she was murdered. So I said, all right. I said, anyway, I was kind of talking to him. I said, what was her name? He tells me her name. I said, well, whereabouts did she live? He said, where she lived. I said, how long before had been murdered? And his legs went. And what happened is, when his mother was young, she'd been, she obviously couldn't look, she'd got two lads as well, she couldn't look after him. So she gave the young girl up. So she was brought up, adopted. And he said his mother was dying. So I was able, his legs went this time. So I was able to take him upstairs and tell him the story of how his grandmother died and what happened to the bloke. Because his mother was still frightened that this bloke was out on the streets and frightened her. And of course he was dead. He died in prison. Just some of the stuff just happens like that.
Last time I was here, I think some of the exhibits from the Moors murderers and things like that, and didn't like Brady or something go around to the actual family or something like that, pretending to be police officers. I think there's a story like that.
I don't know. We've got a lad who's off at the moment, but he's really knows the whole story.
Yeah, I just remember because I was born in Ashton-under-Lyne.
Right.
The whole story over my whole life, in fact, probably kind of like shadowed with that story for some reason. It was always scary going out as a kid in the 70s.
My dad told me at the time, he went to, he worked with one of the uncles of one of the kids who was killed, John Wright, and destroyed the family. I mean, that Winnie Johnson, she's died now.
Yeah,
she obviously lost Leslie down from her first marriage. Not a lot of people know, but she also lost a son as well. He was shot to death in Cheetham Hill. Tommy Johnson, he was called Winnie Johnson, and he was shot through the mouth. By a fellow who got off with unbelievable.
Gang-related? Is that gang-related?
Gang-related. They called him White Tommy Johnson. So all those things really were sort of we can't put on display. I think he's still too raw.
I think so. It definitely upsets me when it's childhood memories because everybody used to know somebody who used to know somebody related to it.
They've got the tape. I mean, they've got the tapes of the kids and stuff like that, and it's like they should never ever.
No,
I'd hate to think that somebody got some kind of gratification.
no, stuff like that. At least my stomach says stuff like that.
But even now, I mean, I remember there was a guy who's retired, and he did do a sort of police only talk on the research of the Moors again when they found Polly Reed.
Yeah, and was that Inspector Topping, was it?
Yeah, Topping.
Superintendent Topping.
And when they found that, and the press hounded and hounded, said this is a waste of public money and just give them grief. They had helicopters up, and when they took Hindley and Brady up on the board to try and point out, and Brady didn't want to know, he just wanted to get out. Hindley thought, I might be able to get out of prison early, so she was trying to help. But he tells the reason why I think they'll never find the young lad, Keith Bennett, because the way he buried him was he buried him in a crack, so the more moves in the cracks every so often, he'd see himself, he'd see soil. When he tried to dig down, he hit bedrock, so dug out sideways, put him in sideways, so he all slowly moved down the moor, because he's moved down the moor. Like you know, they find that loads of dead sheep and everything down there at the bottom, it won't be washed down eventually. Any will have just been
It's a
absorbed.
vast area, isn't it, as well?
Whereas the others, they were all straight down. And they were ready for giving up on the Polly Reed when they actually went. One of the cops there was just exhausted. And he sat on a rock, puffed, and he was about to eat a sandwich, and he just sat there. It was in rainy heather for about a fortnight, and he was just sobbing. And I just went up, and I just put his sarnies down. Brushed. I said, he felt a little bit of plastic. He started going down. Pushed down, it was as though she meant to be felt.
You're right, it's terrible, mate.
Tip of the shoe.
I'm surprised, probably already.
That's more about that.
It's shocking that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and get the cells before I run out of battery. Thank you very much.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So these have not been changed since they were used, is that?
That's right, yeah. This was put in where they like looked after them, you know, where they give tea and things like that.
Yeah.
Again, just the salt and the brightness. That killed them. Blankets. Got more in there colours than mine.
I know.
Single person.
Oh, they look comfy.
Yeah.
They'd be a lot warmer than the slab of concrete, though.
Yeah, I think I prefer these to the things because like they've got those horrible bed things you don't know, you smear like that.
Yeah. I think these look slightly more comfortable than Egyptian beds.
I've got to say, yeah, I'm off now. I'm on the grandchildren run, so if you've got any problems or questions, just have a word with me, mate. There.
Okay, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.